G'day everyone, this is video number 2 for me. This is my workshop tour, garage tour, shed tour, whatever you want to call it. This is my third attempt at this video. Bit technologically dumb. I've made a few mistakes in the recording of this video. I've filmed it twice already and had no sound, so this is the third attempt. I've checked the sound there already, so we'll see how we go. I guess every shop tour starts with a beer fridge. I have my tool chest here. It's just a Super Cheap Autos tool chest, Tool Pro Edge. It has a lot of miscellaneous tools at the top there, a couple of torque wrenches and stuff. There's a screwdriver drawer. Has the ring spanner drawer, the pliers and Allen key drawer, miscellaneous sockets drawer, full socket set there. These ones are missing. They're actually at the back. I'm doing a job building a deck, so I'll tighten up some Dynabolts. Miscellaneous shifting spanners, assortment of ring spanners, all different hammers, soft face hammers, dollies, the trim, clip removers, other assorted tools, timing light, Noid lights, a few other bits and pieces, and lots of measuring calipers type stuff. Over here I have all my boxes of bolts. I think there's a lot of AN fittings and stuff in there. These are all electrical connections. The rest of them are just metric, imperial, UNF, UNC bolts. These are my show stands I put around cars when I display them. If I had a car, I'd probably have it on display, but don't have one at the moment, other than that old clanger that I've got to work on next. Just mounted this TV the other week into the wall here. Square set it into the wall with the Gyprock just to make it look nice and tidy and sort of keep it out of the line of fire of the bench. Just assembled this bench. It was a couple of shelves. I just cut them down, screwed them together, made a bench top out of some old decking material that I had. It's a fairly long bench, gives me a fair bit of workspace. GoPro for filming. I have a subboard in the garage here. I have a 15 amp circuit, a standard GPA circuit, and 2 lighting circuits for the garage here. Have the cleaning wall, got to keep a workshop clean. Just the parts shelf, bits and pieces in there. You've got my LS harness and all the bits and pieces in the top one there. Bottom one's got old trophies from car shows over the years. Other miscellaneous bits and pieces. Just another workbench. I do my electrical work here. Keep my soldering iron there. I have my PCM tuning tool here for the LS1. Just a bench harness I made up. Got a little transformer here that I use to power it up. Keeps a constant power so you don't drop out your tune. Got my scan tool up there for checking the OBD scans, different codes and whatever come up. Every good shed needs a decent sound system. This surround sound here, got it from my old man. He was going to get rid of it, so thought I'd stick it in the garage here and make good use of it. Can't turn it on because I might breach some copyright issue on music. That's an old Toyota Kluger 3rd row seat, leather seat. I just stuck it on a set of rollers there so I can sit on it and watch something on YouTube on the TV, or if I need to research something, I'll sit down there and check it out. I've got my chassis here. This chassis I bought off a mate of mine, Joe. Give me a good deal, and thanks Joe. It has a Mustang 2 front end in it. I'm going to strip this front end out of it and put it in the chassis for my 35 Chevy over there. Got some good gear on it, some good brakes. All stainless steel polished control arms and coilovers. I was going to go and buy it all, but why reinvent the wheel if someone's already got it and they sell it to you for the right price? Has a dual 3-inch exhaust system on this chassis. It's all been ceramic polished coated all the way through. It's got a couple of dump pipes at the back here, but it also has a couple of mufflers that you can run to quiet it down if you want to. There's quite a significant 9-inch diff in this. I was going to use the Jag rear end I purchased for the Chevy over there, but I think I'm going to put this 9-inch in it. It's got a pretty good brake setup, coilovers, 4-link already. Has 35 spline axles in there. Look at the size of those bloody things. Yeah, it's pretty decent setup. As you can see down there, has Romac full floater axles in it, 35 spline axles. If you watch my channel, the first one, you would have seen the engine run stand. I've had a couple of guys request that I redo the video on that thing running up and starting, and a bit of a walkthrough on it because I filmed it in the wrong aspect ratio last time because my phone capacity was a bit low, so it wouldn't let me film it in landscape like we're filming this one. I had to film it into the portrait view, which is obviously that view. Yeah, here's me Chevy, 1935 Chevy Master. It's a really good body on this car. Obviously the guy before me has cut it down from a 4-door into a 2-door. Got this for a decent price. I think I paid about $5.50 for this body with a W348 big block, a power glide, and a pretty well set up Skyline BorgWarner diff. Sold the diff to a guy, sold a tranny to a guy, sold the engine to a guy up in North Queensland somewhere. I think he paid I thought was a fair amount. He obviously liked it, didn't haggle the price. So I've probably made enough money out of this car. The car's at zero value to me now. So anything I spend on it from now on is what it actually cost me. Made all my money back out of it in parts. As you can see, it's a bit of a junker at the moment. These couple of metal cross rails you can see here are probably the only cross rails this car has in it. The guy's cut the middle one out already and he's re-welded in a front one out of a HR, I think it's a HR front end. As you can see inside this car, it's that much of an old beast. It still has a timber frame in the car. It's all rotten away obviously, but I've got to strip all the timber frame out of it, what's left in it, remove the dodgy steelwork the other guys put in it, and remanufacture it all and get it up to scratch and get it fully registered. What he's done is he wanted to widen the guards to fit bigger wheels under there, so what he did was he cut 2 guards apart, and you can see where he's seam welded it up here, and he's got another weld on the inside there, and across the top, across here he's got the seam. So he cut the ridge out of one guard and he cut the other guard near the middle, and he welded the 3 parts together. Done a really average job on it. You can see daylight through his welds under here, like you can see right there. I'll have to cut the whole centre out of those guards and remake them. I've just recently purchased all the tools to do that. But as you can see from the rest of the car, it has 0 rust in it. It's got a little bit of bodgy work from his handiwork down here, but I've never seen a body on a 1935 or older sort of car that is in this sort of condition. It has, like I said, 0 rust. I can't find a rust hole in this whole car. Front guards are in excellent condition, considering a bit beaten up on the side here, but I'll work my magic on that. I'm going to chop the top on this thing. I'm going to take 4 inches out of it. As you can see where I was sort of thinking about cutting this. My plan is to cut it straight down the guts as well. I don't know if you've ever sat in one of these, they're really thin. I guess they were designed when men were skinny and their hats were tall. So really high roof line. When you sit in the car, you sit shoulder to shoulder with the person beside you. I want a bit of space in the middle for a console. Like I said, he's put I think it's a HR front end in the car. He's done a really average job of that too. You can see some of the gaps he's left in his handiwork there. There's bigger gaps underneath. I'm going to cut that whole front end out of it and weld that Mustang 2 front end in it. If I touch anything, everything's just held together with 1 or 2 bolts. If I touch it, it'll just fall apart. So it's just assembled to keep all the parts together and handy. Again, like I said, zero rust in the car. You can see the quality of this guy's work before me. That's probably about 3 or 4 mil deep, where he just put a bit of plate behind it and welded it from the front here. I can feel like a 5 mil misalignment between these two parts of the metal where it joins here. I'm going to take the skin off this door and probably remake at least a section of it. But yeah, it has no roof in it. I'm guessing back in the day they couldn't make a panel that big, so what they did was they put timber ribs through the middle of it and stretched canvas through it. And you can see it still has like original glove box type stuff in it. Has original gauges still in it. I think it's got about 30,000 miles on it, I think, from what I can see on the gauges. Probably not the original gauges. Someone probably put some other stuff in it, but they kind of look original to me, and I haven't researched it enough to know any different. Enough of the boring stuff. Got a few slings, bits and pieces set up here. I purchased these slings in Bunnings. I don't know if you've looked in Bunnings rigging section there, but their stuff is really cheap. These are 2-ton slings. I think they cost me $7 a sling, so I bought 4 of them. So I had a matching set. Purchased a chain block. I think it was like 85 bucks, something like that. Really cheap for a 1-ton chain block, 3 meter drop. Got my Sigweld 135 MIG here. It's only a little baby, but it does the job. I've really worked that thing. I've put 20 or 30 coils of wire through that MIG and it's still powering on. Got my scratch start TIG down the bottom. I don't know if you've scratch start TIG welded before, but that's a really difficult process to get used to. I'm still trying to work it out. I have a plasma cutting table here. You can set the metal on top of it. Use your plasma cutter to cut any bits of metal you've got. Here's my plasma cutter. Again, it's only a small one for a workshop. It's a Sigweld Easy Cut 35. Really good little bit of gear. Does excellent quality cuts. I'll show you something out of the drawer here. This is something I cut off. What you can see there is all the slag underneath it, but I don't know if you can catch that in the light there. The type of cut that it does is really good. That's 8mm plate. That's smooth. I haven't filed it or cleaned it. You wouldn't cut your finger on it. It's that smooth. The backside, I guess, it's just slag and stuff you can chip off. Got an assortment of clamps and bits and pieces for holding stuff down on the little welding table here. Got a full jig set up here for all my welding clamps and positioning stuff for the little welding table. This is just a cheap one I bought off eBay. Looks probably in about 6mm plate. Can't go bash on it with a big hammer, but it does the job. Got a high lift jack there and a crappy little, I don't know if it's a bloody Kmart or a super cheap auto jack from the oldie days, but I wouldn't trust that under a car. I just push up springs and stuff and compress the control arms with it. Got a couple of photos of, paintings of cars I've had. This was my 1969 Chevelle. I had that painted in Bali. It's I put an LS2 in that car. Probably one of the first people in Australia, I guess maybe 10 or more years ago, to put that sort of engine in the car, retrofit it. This was my son's VZ Commodore. Had that painted for him, but his garage isn't up to the standard to keep it hanging on the wall, so he said to just hang on to it here. This is my Hafco 3-in-1 shear press brake. It's got slip rolls on the top as well, so you roll the handles around, it turns the rollers. When you roll the handles around, it also works the press part of it, and it also drops the guillotine blade. So it's segmented, so you can pull these little fingers out here and press different size bits of metal, different widths, different box sections. Look, they're not super powerful. It's really good for anything under 1 millimeter. Anything over that, I'm guessing. I bought this off a guy for a good price. He's remanufactured these sort of turning arms on it out of steel because he broke the cast iron ones that came with it, probably trying to press something too big. Should keep that guard on the top to stop the rollers from rusting. I just made up a metal table to sit it on so it's something heavy so it doesn't try to roll over when you're pressing stuff. I have this 2-in-1 grinder linisher here. Has a grinding wheel one side, has the linishing belt on the other side, and a linishing disc on this side. You can see I give it a bit of a hard time when I was making the welding table. Polished a few things up. Got a little sandblasting cabinet. It's got a bit of garnet in it at the moment. It's good for stripping stuff rough, but I think long term I might turn it into like a vapor blasting cabinet and put a little pump underneath it so I can sort of polish metal up as well as blast it off. This stuff I'm talking about here, all the power tools in here are Hafco brand. They're all purchased at Heron Forbes up in Sydney. I had all the family and relatives and stuff. Anytime I had a birthday or something, I just had them purchase me gift cards for it. I ended up with $5,000 or $6,000 worth of gift cards. So put my list together, went up there one day with a box trailer and brought all the gear home. It's a pretty handy little drill press. Has a guard to protect you from all the swarf flying around. Start stop button underneath here, and when you hit the emergency stop, it actually pushes on that stop button in there. You just lift it up to release it. Table's fully adjustable. You can clamp down the bottom if you've got something larger on it. Multi-speed, you can adjust it. Pretty simple. I'm gradually going through the process now of mounting my air hose reelers on the wall. That's where you can see all the brick dust around it. I'm just going to run the plumbing along the top and just conceal it all so I can have a compressed air service in both parts of the workshop here, running off my new compressor over there. This is a parts washer. I haven't put any chemicals in it yet to wash parts, but I plan on doing that soon because I'm going to strip that LS1 down. I'm going to take this sort of weird sort of hose off here, convoluted hose. I'm going to see if I can purchase a brush that has a hose on it that I can mount straight on it so I can wash and rinse at the same time. That's the plan, I suppose. It has a little parts box in here too. You can put parts in there and rinse them and wash them and soak them. Not very expensive, a couple $100. I think it was maybe $200 or something. But it'll do the job. I have a sandblasting pot for doing bigger items. It works quite well. The only issue is the end here. After a while you can see the nozzle starts to get worn out and then you get too much material flow through and you empty the tank in a couple of minutes. But again, it does the job. I have these imitation Halibrands that come on the car. They're brand new tyres and everything. The tyres look like they're aging a bit. They're probably getting pretty hard. They were on the hot rod when I got it. What size have we got here? We've got 295, 50, 15. So yeah, they're a decent size tyre. Not big enough for a hot rod, but decent size for most cars. I have the my new silent drive or stealth drive compressor here. I'll just shut the drain valve and I'll turn it on for you. It's from AEG. I bought it in Bunnings. It's really quiet. That's as loud as it gets. Can run it all night, not disturb the neighbours. Just the power tools will piss them off. So I think it's only like 70 decibels or something. It's really quiet compared to a normal compressor, which probably runs around 95. They give you an AEG air hose with it too. You've got to send away your receipt to their website, and they send that back to you through the mail, which is pretty cool. I never thought it would turn up, but still pretty good. I didn't expect it. Engine hoist. It's only good for a ton in close and 250 kilos at full reach, but I've had a ton at full reach on this thing and it lasted, it still did the job. I've got my brand new steering column, stainless steel steering column for the hot rod up there. I'm just going to start keeping new parts on the shelf, just out of the way. Oh, back to the front stand again. This is it's not a dead body hanging out of the car here. This is show carpet for underneath underneath the cars when you display them at a car show. I've got nowhere else to put it at the moment. I've got a full shed. I've got to try and offload some stuff out of it. Keep my welding mask up on the wall there, and the grinding shield. This back bit of the workshop here used to be the pergola on the back of the house. As you can see, I like locking this bit away. This has a full roller door internal in the garage to lock the back away. And I got a pretty heavy duty lock that I lock this section up with, so all these better tools don't go walkabout. Just a kitchen sink. Was out of my old kitchen in the house. Ran it here, has hot and cold running water to it. Just for cleaning the hands when I'm finished in the afternoons or at night. Just started working on this area here, got to get some cupboard doors for it. That's pretty much how the 35 looked when I purchased it. It was a fully assembled car, but no interior in it. Everything was just bolted in loose. My old drill press, really gutless, made 10 mil drill, install that thing. Purchased this vise from Bunnings. It's an Irwin vise, pretty good. Everything usually about $300, and I went into Bunnings and had an old beaten up box on it, had a price of 80 or 90 bucks on it. I said to one of the employees there, I said, is this the actual price of this vise? And he said, mate, the price is as it's marked. So I didn't ask any more questions, went straight to the counter, purchased it immediately. Went to a different Bunnings the following day, checked on the price, I think it was like 279 bucks. So got a really good deal there. It'll work like a normal vise, or you swing it around, you can have like a pipe clamp vise, either through the front here, or you can clamp stuff on the top. It has the little sort of mandrel part there for beating on things. Got my little pegboard and whiteboard there to keep notes of what I'm up to. Have my Ryobi wall here. The other half of the tools that are normally on the rack along here are out the back, in the back room, because like I said, I'm still building a deck out there. This is the kitchen out of the house. I just assembled it so it fit this area. Can't have enough bench space when you've got a garage or a workshop. This is the stainless wire I've been using on the back handrail, and all the stainless steel bottle screws there for tensioning it all. Got some spray equipment in there. More tools. Cupboards are full of tools. Drawers, pencils, texters, measuring equipment. This side's full of tapes. This one's full of old screwdrivers and multimeters, and this one's full of measuring equipment. Another grinding linisher. I'm going to take this grinding disc off of this one here, and I'm going to mount a polishing wheel on it. It's pretty useless as a grinder, it's really gutless. What else have we got over here? We have the dolly stand here, so these normally come with a plate on the top of them, and you put your sandbag on top, and then you can use your dollies to knock some sense into some steel, reshape it. Didn't have the top available when I went to purchase it, so next time I'll head up to Hare and Forbes, or maybe we're going to hit up Sydney Hot Rod Show, I'll purchase it up there. Then that sandbag will sit on top of it. Made myself a shrinking stump. Just got a old piece of, it might be stringy bark, gum tree. Took to the top of the grinder and the circular saw and ground it out and polished it all. So I've got a nice radius in here now for shrinking metal. That's a pipe bender. Haven't assembled it yet. Haven't got the room to put it in here. Have a 20-ton workshop press. It's pretty good actually. It's another item from Hare and Forbes. So you just slide the press cylinder along wherever you need it. You can raise it up and down. The center brace is quite light. Bought all these attachments here for pressing out items or pressing in items. It's just it comes with the power unit, the jack unit anyway. So, and it like you see, it's good for 20-ton Has 30 tonne in the red zone, but I don't know if I'd push it that far. In case you're interested, it's a HP 20 PP. Have a little linishing planisher. It's pretty simple little tool. I've got another air reeler I'm mounting up here, and it's right next to this. Is the only item I have in this side of the shed that takes compressed air. That just connects up to the little quick connect fitting on it. Put your foot on the pedal, run it. It's just a simple little anvil assembly here where you just flick the little lever around and it closes that gap up there so you can start planishing. Comes with a couple of little dies. It's like a low crown one, and there's a couple of higher crown dies here that it comes with. Haven't used it yet, just test run it, know it works. This is my little bandsaw. Once again, all this stuff is from Hare & Forbes. This one's, I think it was about $600 or $700 for this bandsaw. You can stand this one vertical. It comes with that little table down there that you mount on this block here, and then you have a flat surface to use as a bandsaw, so you can sort of manipulate shapes with the bandsaw. You just drop the guide down to the width of the steel that you're cutting. Works pretty well, except the blades are really shit. Like that is, they won't even cut my finger now if I ran it up and down on it. So that probably cut 10 pieces of square hollow section. It's only like 1.5 mil thick, and that blade was blunt. I was using some cutting lubricant as well on it. I'll have to go and order a couple more blades, or I might even hit up Total Tools or Sydney Tools, see what they've got, if I can take the blade with me. Stretcher shrinker, foot operated one. You can see I opted for the round or the oval jaw style, and this has got the shrinking dies in at the moment. As you can see, when you put your foot on it, it brings the jaws together and it closes the jaws, which grabs and pinches the steel, which shrinks it. It comes with a second set of jaws, which are the stretchy ones. I mean, there were smaller versions of this thing, but they had a really closed in throat and a really shallow throat. I took this one because it's probably 100 mil throat by about 50 mil opening, so it can take a bit of a weird shape or a fair deep shrink at things. I've used that a couple of times already. My English wheel, I've just got a bit of timber up here at the moment just to keep the band away from the actual wheel. Comes with a decent set of lower anvil wheels, from straight to this high arc wheel here. And again, it's pretty simple. You know, you run your steel in the gap, close the lever down, brings the bottom anvil up, and then you're just wheeling backwards and forwards. Again, I haven't used that in anger yet. I just tried it a few times just to make sure it works, and it's a pretty simple process. This is probably the biggest tool I have in my shop at the moment. It's a bead roller. I was going to purchase the small version of this. It was about, I don't know, $600. Then you had to buy a $200 or $300 motor for it. Then you had to buy more dies and more bead rollers for it. And then I thought, what, for $1,600 I bought this beast. It came with the table, it came with a fence, so you can slide that inside there, and you can sort of work your metal up against the fence and keep a straight run on your beads. It came with a shitload of dies. You look how many I got here. What's that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, about 30 different dies that it came with. And if you go and buy those separately, you're probably paying, I don't know, $200 or $300 for it per set. So it's a decent, got a decent deal on it. And again, they gave me a fair price on stuff because I was buying so much. So again, it's like the other tools. It has a start-stop thing. Press the button to power it on. Starts up a little PLC on it there. Has a foot pedal for forward and reverse. It's quite quiet. I just keep the bags on there just to keep the wheels from corrosion. Forward, reverse. And you can see the sort of speeds that it's got the wheel running at. And again, it's got a few safety features. So it has the forward and reverse foot pedal, has an emergency stop here, and it also has an emergency stop here. So you can shut it down and it won't start up. Yeah, really happy with that little bit of gear for the price that it was. I have I have a heater on the wall here, so in winter, shop gets cold. No one wants to be in a cold garage. I can flick the switch on, turn the heater on. Have a very large industrial fan up on the wall here. You'll hear this thing crank on when I start it up. Call that my southerly buster. Yeah, so it's pretty much this room. Have my a print I had made in Bali of my 69 Chevelle. It's just taken off a photo. The guy does a pretty good price on these things, of like 30 bucks, 35 bucks a print, because I wanted the background in them. Got a few done for me mates as well. This is my 72 Chevelle, supercharged LS3 in it, so the Z01 supercharged, so it looked like an LSA. Very, very fast car. Racing car underneath, old school on top. This is my Oldsmobile 442 convertible, and this thing was a beast as well when I first assembled it. Ran the motor in, nailed it straight to the floor, car chucked a wheel stand, come back down and under panic brakes, hit the sump on the floor, busted the sump, had to replace the sump, changed the can, made it a bit more streetable. But yeah, that was a tough car. And there's some photos there the missus had done for one of the Christmases. I don't know, some idiot claimed his trophy there at a show. Someone had City Cruise again. These photos of the tunnel run I did with the New South Wales Camaro Club. Did a tunnel run through all the Sydney tunnels. Pretty cool run if you want to organise it yourself and go for a run, or grab some mates and go for a run. It's awesome. A couple of old cars, probably 50 old cars, belting through the Sydney tunnels. You can imagine the noise that was rattling through that place. Recently insulated all the ceiling. It was just a metal roof before. You couldn't work in this workshop in summer. Probably 30 to 40 degrees Celsius in here. Don't know what that equates to for any Americans listening in. But I fully insulated the ceiling, set it all with gyprock, put some downlights through it. I've got plenty of light in here now. Same with the workshop. All the walls are Villa board fibre cement walls, and just put plenty of lights in the workshop here so it's nice and light. Nothing worse than working in a dark cave. Probably got one more to do, one more light to install. When I finish the ceiling in that section there above the sink, I'll just get a light put in there somewhere so it makes it a bit lighter for me. Keep a bit of chemicals and sprays and stuff under the sink here. So because it's under the sink, I keep a spill kit nearby in case I spill something. I can soak it up pretty quick. Most of the chemicals there probably peel this paint off the floor. There's a step here, which is why the tape's there, just to remind me so I don't fall off it. The workshop floor is just done in that White Knight concrete paint. I wouldn't advise putting on your floor. Probably good for a shed that you're not going to do some heavy work on, but for a garage or a decent workshop, it's a really weak product. As you can see on the floor in here, this section down here, you can see how fried up the paint is. Anywhere it's scratched, I spilled a bit of fuel there, and it started spilling. I started frying up all the paint. It's not very durable either. You can see here where I dragged a bit of metal. Some of that metal over there I dragged across the floor. It stripped through 2 layers of this paint back to concrete. Like I said, I'm not that happy with it. If I had my choice again, I'd put an epoxy floor down, you know, one of those ones with all the flakes through it. And then I guess I had one in my last garage and sort of indestructible. So yeah, and I guess back to the engine run stand. So it's a bit of a walkthrough of my garage, workshop, shed, whatever you want to call it. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I've been asked by a few guys to, like I said, to refilm the engine run stand in this view, so that'll probably be the next one I do, or it might be something around my my bench tuning harness over there on the bench. So anyway, catch up with you soon.